everybody, what's going on? Fabian for Liberty. FabianForLiberty.com is my website, or FabianCalvo.me. So breaking news, I would say. I mean, former CIA deputy director, a guy by the name of Michael Morrell, I believe, says that it's absolutely a risk of the U.S. and China going to war in the near future. And this all has to do with the CNN exclusive, where they were, apparently some CNN reporters were on board of this this spy plane, this U.S. spy plane, a P-8 something, and it's flying over these disputed islands in the South China Sea. The Chinese Navy warned the plane over 8 times to basically leave the airspace, and the U.S. Responded saying, well, we're flying through international waters. Now, this all has to do with this disputed region of the South China Sea. I said this maybe 2 years ago, that the borders of Russia and the South China Sea, in my opinion, were the front lines of the global economic reset with respect to the geopolitical aspects of what that reset will entail. Certainly that's happening now. Now, these are islands, so you know, it was really like a coral reef, that was the barrier that was out there. And in a relatively short period of time, they've built over 2,000 acres of islands there that are heavily guarded. They got all kinds of submarines and brand new stealth jet fighters that are protecting these islands. And it really reminded me of, for example, all these little islands, whether it was Guam, the Falkland Islands, the Marshall Islands, that the U.S. used in World War II for bombing campaigns against Japanese positions. This is in essence what the Chinese, I think, are doing. Look, the Chinese are clearly not just expanding their influence economically, but what's important to know is that, you know, I've never said we're going to go from the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency to China having the world reserve currency. I think we'll go to the U.S. losing more influence on the economic world stage, to the Chinese gaining greater influence either at the IMF or potentially starting their own IMF altogether, whether it's the BRICS or this new World Bank that's set up, or the Asian Infrastructure Bank that they're setting up. But these are islands that are 600 miles again from China. So this isn't just China right in its neighborhood. They're expanding outwards under the claims that, look, there's a lot of natural gas, there's oil in this area, there's a lot of fishing rights in these areas. And the countries that dispute this are, you know, like the Philippines, or Vietnam, and some other U.S. allies that ultimately I think the U.S. will not stand up for these smaller countries over going to war with China. I believe China knows this. I believe China knows, as Putin knows that they are continuing to push the envelope, because ultimately it could be that China has a greater plan of toppling the U.S. economy, or they know that the U.S. economy will topple. And perhaps, look, I hope, I don't want to see war. I don't want to see it. I don't know, and I really don't think we'll see a war between the U.S. and China, although it's concerning, obviously, that the former CIA deputy director has come out and said that war is absolutely at risk. I mean, that's a pretty freaking bold statement to have the former CIA deputy director say that. Obviously, that is the sentiment that's being felt within the CIA and likely within the U.S. government. But I will say this, is that I don't think the Chinese want war with the United States. They don't really benefit from war with the United States because they could ultimately rise to power economically. The question is, will the Wall Street bankers go to war over the rise of China? I don't think they will, because they're hedging their bets. They're in. Remember, George Soros, Warren Buffett, all of these big elitist billionaires that are, in collusion with government and really in essence statists, they want to see China rise. George Soros has said that China will be the new engine of growth in the 21st century. So they want to see this. And as they blow up the markets in the United States and then blow them up towards the downside, they move capital to China to further increase their wealth and their positions of power globally, quite frankly. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. I think that Like I said, the holder of the world reserve currency needs to have a military to back up the world reserve currency. We saw this with England in the 19th century, at the beginning of the 20th century. They had a huge military, huge navy, until they basically lost so much of their military strength through World War I and World War II, as well as their manpower. So many people got killed, and the debts that they incurred from fighting not just 2 wars, but actually 3 wars at the Boer War at the end of the 1800s. And now we see that the U.S. clearly has a very strong military. I don't think that that's could be called into question, extremely advanced technologically and continuing to make significant investments. America makes the largest investments into its national defense and into its military than any other country combined. And I believe it's more than the top 6 or 7 countries combined. But clearly China has been aggressively moving towards rolling out their brand new aircraft carrier, having nuclear submarines, having a brand new stealth fighter jet that they've rolled out, having these islands that they've built, basically built new military installations 600 miles from their coast. So I think anyone with half a brain can see they are clearly moving down that path. In order to have more of a financial influence, they need to have more of a military influence, at least in the beginning, in their own hemisphere. So, love to hear your thoughts on this, but I'll tell you what, absolute risk of the U.S. and China going to war. That's not conspiracy theorist, psychobabble. That is the former deputy director of the CIA. I'm Fabian Calvo, Fabian for Liberty. I want to thank you for watching. New podcast is going to be out today. You can listen to it at fabiancalvo.me. Also remember that tickets on sale for my Malibu Mastermind event. Saturday it's going to be all about real estate investing, and Sunday it will be all about the global economic reset. Going to have some special guests. And I'll tell you what, it's like that presentation, I literally have had to update it every 3 to 4 days because there's so many things that are going on in the world that ties into the GER, Global Economic Reset, all right? So tickets for that event, email us, customer service at fabiancalvo.me, customer service at fabiancalvo.me. Thanks for watching. I'm out.